Good morning. How we doing today? Hopefully life is good, right? All right, let's get into this. We've got some work to get done today. It is Friday, March 18th. As you see on the Google Classroom under week 29, Friday, March 18th. It's gray right now, but once I post this video, it'll turn green. So you can click on it and let's rock and roll. All right, let's make this big. Bam! All right, maybe not quite that big. All right, so yes, I went coloring again, even though that tends to annoy some folks in this class. To be honest, that kind of makes me want to color even more. Just kidding, Ethan. Just kidding. All right, so I've got some different colored pens we'll work with today. A blue, a pink, a green. Let's do an orange too, why not? Feeling that kind of mood today. So with our phonics page, the words we've been working with have the I sound to them. Sometimes that is represented by the IGH, sometimes represented by IE. Either way, it still says I. Our words for the first sentence are high, sight, skies. There is a blank to see, blank in the tree. There is a high to see, sight in the tree. I don't know. There is a sight to see, skies in the tree. There is a skies to see, high in the tree. I don't know which one's going to make the most sense to you. One word goes there, one word goes there, and one word doesn't get used. The baby birds blank go into blank. We have flight, tried, and might. The baby birds flight go into tried. The birds tried go into might. The baby birds might go into flight. I don't know. You have to figure that one out. For sentence 3, our words are flies, night, fright. The mom blanks away at blank to get food. So the mom does something at a time to get food. You figure it out. Number 4, we have fight, right, tries. She blank to find the blank food for her babies. So she does something to find some kind of food for her babies. What is she trying to get? Number 5, we have cries, bright, daylight. When the blank comes, the blank will stop. When the cries comes, that makes sense. Anyway, when the cries comes, the bright will stop. When the bright comes, the daylight will stop. When the daylight comes, the cries will stop. I don't know. When the bright comes, the cries will stop. When I don't know. When the cries comes, the daylight will stop. Choose the words in the right order. They're going to make the most sense for you. Then we have dictation words down here at the bottom. Not really words, it's a full sentence. The bright sun is high in the sky. The bright sun is high in the sky. Now, several of these words we've seen in here, haven't we? Bright is in here. High is in here. We've got skies We don't really have sky. But if you know what you're doing with that, it'll help. The bright sun is high in the sky. Last time. The bright sun is high in the sky. If you need to hear it again, you can always back the video up. Moving on to page 2. Our high frequency words. We have after, best, carry, down, love, now, picture, round, small, and winter. Draw a line from each word on the left to its synonym on the right. If antonym is opposite, then synonym means the same. Right. Okay. Some of these words might be a little unfamiliar to us. But these words we should know from our word bank. Carry, now, love, small, after, picture. We've got the words immediately, little, image, tote, adore, and behind. Immediately, that's a big word. What's immediately mean? Yeah, like mom says, clean your room immediately. Go to the office immediately. Does that mean take your time? No, it means get there like now, right? So now is immediately. So what word means little? Is it carry, love, small, after, or picture? Yeah, you already know what that one is, so I'm not even going to help you with that one. How about image? Image is like how people see you, your perception, right? But it could also be an image, like something you hand somebody. It's a drawn representation, like a picture. I didn't tell you the answer's picture, but choose picture. What is tote? It's an older word. It's kind of a country word now. Tote. My second grade teacher used to tell it, our backpacks, she called them tote bags. So why is that a tote bag? Just because you tote things around in them. In other words, you carry things in a tote bag. Because to tote means to carry back and forth. That was kind of tricky. If you adore something. Oh, my new little puppy's so cute. I just adore him. Does adore mean love, small, or after? And our last word would be behind. Not the behind you're sitting on right now, but behind. Not in front of, but behind. What is in front arrives first. What is behind will come later. It's another word for later. Not before, but as far as I'm doing with that one with you. Read the paragraph and answer the questions. I love to walk in the forest with my father after a winter snowfall. I wear my yellow down coat, down like goose down, goose feathers, super, super warm, and a wool hat. We carry a small backpack with water, snacks, and a camera. Now and then, Dad will say, "Wait, John." Then he will stop and take a picture. One of his best pictures is of a red fox. I love how the fox looks against the deep white snow with its dark round eyes looking right at us. Well, who's telling this story? Yeah, it's a boy, but what's the boy's name? How do you know? Right, because his dad says it. Go back to the story and see what Dad says. The only things Dad says in the story. What season is it? Here's a hint. It's in your word bank. How do the boy and his father prepare for their walks? Tell you what, I'm going to go through here. I'm going to underline the words we have from our word bank. Okay. Love to walk. Okay. Love to walk in the forest. That was a previous word with my father after a winter snowfall. I wear my yellow. That was the previous word. Down coat and a wool hat. We carry a small backpack with water, snacks, and a camera. Those were also previous words, weren't they? Now and then, Dad will say, "Wait, John." Then he will stop and take a picture. One of his best pictures is of a red fox. I love how the fox looks against the deep white snow with his dark, round eyes looking right at us. All right, oh, there's small. All right, so we have after, best, carry, down, love, now, picture, round, small, and winter. There's all of our words right there. Okay. So how do the boy and his father prepare for their walks? What do they do before they start to walk? What do they put on? What do they have to carry with them? What does the father like to do while they're walking? Right? One of the words that I've underlined really talks about it. Why does the boy like the picture of the fox? And how do the boy and his father feel about the walks? Ah, man, I gotta take another walk. Come on, let's go. Is that how they feel about it? Are they kind of excited? Well, look at that first sentence, and that might tell you about it. Page 3 is word study. Back to our Greek and Latin roots. Mono and uni means one, like monorail and unicorn. Bi means two, like a bicycle. Tri means three. They have triplex, which is like a three family house, or it could be a tricycle with three wheels, a triangle with three sides, triceratops with three horns. Quartus means four, like a quartet is four people that sing or play together. A quarter, there are four quarters in a dollar. Decim is 10, like decade. I mean, it's decim, I don't know. Decimals moved by powers of 10. And then centum means 100, like a century is 100 years. A centipede has 100 legs. And there's 100 cents in a dollar. So which tooth, based on the Greek and Latin roots, which tooth has two cusps? Two. That could be your incisor, your molar, or your bicuspid. Which group is a threesome? It's got three people in there. Is it twins, triplets, or dozen? Which poem has four lines? In case you didn't realize, I'm underlining the number words. You can find them right over in here in the roots. So that's all I'm saying right there. Which poem has 4 lines? Is it a couplet, a quatrain, or a haiku? Which one has the fewest syllables? So it doesn't give us a number in this one, does it? Does it compound, monosyllable, or multisyllable? Which one means the closest to 1, the smallest number? Which one is a quadruped? Look for quad. Will it be a horse, a chicken, or an octopus? Eli might have an advantage in that question. Let's read the paragraph and circle the words the Greek or Latin number roots. Then we'll answer the question. All right, I will circle these words with you. But you have to answer the questions. Our town is about to celebrate its centennial. What do you think that means? Annual means years. Centennial. What do you think cent means? They mean 100 years? For real? It's a long time. The school band has new uniforms for marching in the parade. Form means how it looks. What do you think uni means? Uni means one, so uniform means they all form or look the same way. There's one way that everybody looks. They're all dressed the same. Cool. I plan to borrow my uncle's binoculars to watch the bands and floats go by. Ocular has to do with vision or glasses. Binoculars means how many lenses are there. There will be other entertainment as well. I read about a barbershop quartet, a brass trio, and even a unicycle act. After that, there will be a stand-up comedian who does a funny monologue. A log is, in this case, like a story or somebody telling something. And mono means what does mono mean? Here's mono. It means one. So one person telling the story. Okay. Hey, why is the town planning so much entertainment? How old is it going to turn? We just talked about that. Now I'm back in the picture. So how old is the town about to turn? Okay. How does a writer plan to see things? What's he going to borrow from his uncle? When will the town celebrate its next centennial? You could either do the math and tell me the year, or you could just tell me how many years it's going to be. I'll accept either answer. Reading comprehension, news stories. Said read the information about news stories, then draw a check in the box to show the correct meaning of the bold word. Here's an example of how a story gets into the newspaper. Let's imagine that a city bus has turned over in a ditch, injuring some of the passengers. An eyewitness calls the newspaper. The editor assigns a reporter to go to the scene. The reporter talks to the passengers, driver, and witnesses who saw the accident. He or she finds out what they saw and how they feel, writing down their comments or tape recording their answers. At the same time, a photographer is busy taking pictures. All right, stop, time out. Eyewitness. Who is the eyewitness? What do they do? They call the newspaper. Before they call the newspaper, what led them to call the newspaper? Let's find out down here. Based on the other words in the sentence, what's the correct definition of eyewitness? Is it a reporter, A person who saw what happened? Or a lawyer? Check the box you think is correct. Better yet, check the box that is correct. There we go. Now let's go back to it. If there isn't time for the reporter to go back to the newsroom, reporters can use laptops to write the story on the spot. Next, an editor reads the story, checking facts, grammar, and spelling. Meanwhile, the photographer chooses a photo. The story is set in print. A proofreader checks the story for mistakes. That can be important. The newspaper is now ready for printing. The presses begin to run. Miles of paper are turned into thousands of printed, cut, and folded newspapers. They're counted, put into bundles, and placed in waiting trucks. Within a few hours, people can read all about the bus accident in their daily newspaper. So proofreaders are next bolded word. A proofreader checks the story for mistakes. So based on the other words in the sentence, what's the correct definition of proofreader? Is it a person who checks for mistakes? A person who shows proof that he's read a book? Or a teacher? Even though teachers do check for mistakes, and we do prove that we've read things, neither one of them is really that job. So, no, it's not going to be a teacher. I think you guys already have that answer. So I am moving on. Our last page today. Unless we have to go to those other 5 pages. I don't want to do them. You don't want to do them. Let's not even talk about them. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Reading comprehension, news services. Read the information about news services, then answer the questions. When people read daily newspapers, they expect to see current news from all over the world. Some newspapers have offices or reporters in Washington, D.C., and other major cities around the world. Most newspapers rely on news services for international news. It's not just local stuff, not just stuff in our country, but international is worldwide news. News services are organizations that gather and sell news to papers, radios, and television stations. So they write up these news stories, and then they'll sell those news stories to other local papers, to WSAZ. They'll sell those stories to CNN. Okay? They're sometimes referred to as wire services because they originally sent stories over telegraph or teletype lines, or wires as they were called then. Telegraph, the so they would send a wire, that's what they were called, that way with all the news information. The 2 largest news services are the Associated Press and United Press International. You get a lot of stories in the newspaper say they're from the AP, that's the Associated Press. International, you might find UPI, United Press International. Just saying, if we ever go through newspapers, we might find that. Stories sent by these services have their initials, AP or UPI, at the beginning of the article. Wow, it's like I just said that. It's crazy. All large American newspapers are members of either the AP or UPI service. I see a lot of AP. Don't see so much UPI around. But yeah. At one time, people had to wait for messengers to arrive by foot, horse, or ship to learn the news. By the time it reached the newspaper, news could be months old. In my 8th graders, if you're studying the War of 1812, did you know that the Battle of New Orleans was fought after the end of the war? Like the war ended like right before Christmas of 1813. The Battle of New Orleans took place in January of 1814, like a month after the end of the war, because nobody got the news yet. It's crazy, right? Yeah. Sad. All those people died for no reason. Anyway, news could be months old. Gathering news from around the world became much faster after the invention of the telegraph, teletype, telephone, and transatlantic cable. Now today we have satellites, modems, and fax machines. Nobody uses modems and fax machines anymore. So we have satellites and we have the internet to send stories, pictures, even videos around the world in seconds. So what's another name for news service organizations? They're sometimes referred to as something. What are three inventions that have speeded up worldwide news gatherings? They have listed. You could also include that. Why do newspapers use news services? I'm not going to tell you that one because I already told you that one. You can back the video up and hear me read it again if you want to. How was news delivered before the invention of modern communication devices? That you're going to find in this paragraph. If you need to back it up to hear me read that to you again, you can. Or you can look for examples in there for how people used to have to travel to deliver the news. All right, that is our last page. Hopefully you got this. I trust you. Have a great day.